Hello, welcome again to Coull Discussions. That's Barry and Chris. For the past 9 years, taxes in Calgary have gone up 72%. Inflation has gone up 15%. Now, that's a horrible thing to have. This year, when taxes went out, telling people that this is what your property taxes are for the year, a lot of people got really, really big surprises. So much so that some industry has actually had to close their doors because of the increase of taxes.
Some almost doubled their property tax from last year.
Yeah, and it's weird because the property tax only went up 4.2% this past year.
Can't blame that on the NDP government.
Because of all the complaints that City Council have gotten, City Council, the first thing they said was, oh, well, it's so high because the province increased their share of the taxes by 10%. So they immediately tried to pass the buck.
Of course, it's never their fault. It's never the first level of government's
Exactly. Fault. So the NDP may have increased their taxes 10% this past year, but the previous 2 years before that, they gave a $52 million
was it like an overage?
Yeah, an overage. So they gave money back to the city saying, oh yeah, you paid too much.
And we kept it. They kept it.
And the city of Calgary went, oh, are we going to give it back to the people? No, we're going to keep it.
What'd they do with it? Did they do anything with it? I don't even know.
Fuck. Who knows with that?
So that's the problem right there, is that we're citizens of Calgary and of Canada and of Alberta, but yet when we try to find information out about expenditures and expenses and stuff like that from our government, it's impossible to find. It's impossible to find. You go on their websites and you try to, for me anyways, maybe I'm just stupid.
Okay,
but for me, I can't decipher anything. I'm
average man, me and you, would have very much difficulties. The NDP released a sunshine list, which is a list of people who make over $125,000 a year in the government.
700 grand, over 700 grand.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. Now, the thing is, according to all the the media outlets, they said they actually had to look through upwards of 25 different lists.
What? Yeah.
To compile how much these people made. So these people, this is what this is their life. This is what they're paid to do. We don't do that. We don't necessarily know how to navigate.
Take 8 hours to do that.
Yeah, so it's very nice because the media outlets do actually compile the list for us, so it's easy to digest. But imagine having to go through that just to find how much a person is making.
Anybody in the public sector, in my opinion, if you are part of not public sector, but if you are part of like a political, like a government, I don't want to include doctors. I don't want to include doctors. I don't want to include the guy who works on the roads. But if you're like a politician type thing, you should have to have your tax return published. It should be 100% published. You are getting paid by taxpayer dollar. You should have your tax return published. Bottom line. I give a little bit of leniency to healthcare because I think they're underappreciated.
Okay, healthcare, they also have to go to school, they have to do upgrades. So no. Politicians, they get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we should find out if they're making even more money on top of that. And then how much they end up paying in taxes compared to
us,
you.
Yeah. Because if they're paying less than I am in taxes, that's not fair.
Yeah, yes. Anyway, so because 2017 is an election year in Calgary.
Is it?
I should have looked that one up. There's an election coming up pretty soon. Okay, in Calgary for the city offices. All of a suddenly, all of the city councilmen are going, oh, we should have a 0% increase in taxes this year. Oh, gee, is an election coming up? Oh, yeah, of course there is. Now, these people, some of them who have been on council for a long time, have resided over city. Well, city taxes have gone up, as I mentioned earlier, 72%. Okay, what what has been going around is this thing called zero-based budgeting. Now, for those of you who don't know, zero-based budgeting is when you start at the number 0 and you start adding what you need to get by. Now, I don't know how you do your home budget, but that's kind of the way I've always done my home budget.
Yeah.
I start, I make a list. These are all my expenses. This is when I get paid. This is what comes out, right? For cities, what it means is instead of going, my budget last month was $20,000. Well, this month my budget is $20,000. Oh, well, I need this, 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 and this, and you increase the budget accordingly. No. You go, what you should be doing is you go 0. Okay, I have $5,000 in wages. I have $10,000 in maintenance. $1,000 in food costs. Wait, why do I have $1,000 in food cost? Well, find out why.
See, that's the problem, is that there's no consequence to these guys if they just spend. They just go, we'll increase taxes, whatever.
Yeah,
we'll increase.
And that's the thing. It's like, the mayor has come out right off the bat. It's like, if you have a 0% tax increase this year, and you take money that from a fund to help cover the 0% increase, well, next year you're going to have a double increase because you didn't do an increase this year. And then the next thing he says is, Calgarians don't want to have a 0% increase in taxes. Oh, really? Yeah. Who have you been talking to? Because
he tries to throw out the well, if we have a 0 increase, we're going to have to cut services. We're going to have to cut to services, and Calgarians don't want that. And it's like, hold on. The problem, I don't think, is that it's not that. We don't want to cut services. Well, I don't. I want the government to do an internal audit on wages themselves. And stop giving themselves put a freeze on all I'm not talking doctors. I'm not talking those people. Okay,
we're talking about the city of Calgary.
We're talking about fucking these stupid politicians who just constantly go, well, we're in debt, we need to find more taxes yet, and on the other hand they go, yeah, we just passed a wage increase for ourselves, and it's like, you're making $100K already.
Yeah, here's the thing. Salary, wages, overtime, and benefits account for 45% of the Calgary budget. 45%. Now, when I worked in the food industry, labor had to account for 25%. At most.
I know it's different because the food industry, there's other costs, so when you're in an office, your labor and wages are going to be the most of it.
Yeah.
When you're in a public sector, I think that's the biggest thing you need to, when you're making $100K, there needs to be a revamp to the system.
So here's what it is. The Canadian Taxpayer Federation estimates a 5% cut to city staff would save $120 million, which would equal a negative 2.57% tax increase. 100,000 people have lost their jobs in Alberta because of the bad economy. Asking your city employees for a 5% rollback on their wages shouldn't be a problem.
They should go 10-15%. If you're making
if they complain,
get them out.
Get them out. They have a union job. They're well paid. They are equal to, or if not better than, the private sector, as well as they have incredible pensions.
But this is where it comes back to my point of view from government, is that we all just sheepishly go to these polling stations thinking that marking a box is going to change something. Somebody needs to run for office who's going to fall on the sword, who's going to do those hard things. And number one has to always, when you're running a business and you look at your costs, you don't automatically go, I'm going to increase price to customers. No, because that's going to affect your business. You go, how can I internally save money first? That's the first thing you look at. You do an internal audit. If you're making $100K and you take a 5% pay cut, that's nothing. You're losing $5,000. Who cares?
Oh, no.
There needs to be a system put in place where wages for politicians in cities and municipalities and provinces and countries is directly linked to the economy of the country somehow. I don't know how that would happen. I'm not smart enough. But I'm sure I could think of something if I thought about it. I just thought about it on top of my brain right now. If you did it somehow where like your wage was, like, imagine you were running a, but you do that in business. You don't just pay yourself, I'm going to pay myself $1 million when your company makes $20,000 a year. It's like, I'm going to pay myself $1 million. I don't care. It's what I deserve to get paid. And it's like, well, your business goes out of business.
Now, a good example of this is the business that I work for. The owners, husband and wife, during the 2008 recession, once things started getting really bad, they actually made a public announcement to all the staff saying they have removed themselves from the payroll to help with costs.
Because it's a private business, and if they didn't, their business would go under.
Exactly.
But because they can, the politicians just go, well, we'll just take more money.
Yeah. So it's when Mayor Nenshi was elected, he was considered to be conservative fiscal hawk. Now, a fiscal hawk is somebody who actually watches nickels and dimes for the budget. Now,
what happened? That seems to
not
be
even
everybody, though.
Close.
That seems to be every politician. You sit there and you look at them and they go, we're going to be fiscally responsible, we're going to be transparent, we're going to be held accountable. Really? And then you go, and then we're sitting here again talking about the same thing after a couple years, and we're going, well, these guys are just spending money wildly. And it's like, obviously, again, it comes back to the point of we have no access to city expenditures, city anything. When you look on their website,
the city,
trust me, I've looked. When you look on their website, you can. I'm not an accountant. I can't make diddly squat of this. I do my budget on a goddamn napkin sometimes, on my telephone. You know what I mean? Like, on a piece of paper. Why can't it just be Mayor Nenshi pay all of it? Not Mayor Nenshi. Oh, his salary is $92,575, whatever it is. But then 14 pages down the road, oh, Mayor Nenshi gets $35,000 for being on this council or on this board or on this, and it's like, why don't we just have it consolidated into one? This is, again, it comes back to all your tax records should be put out. Like, how much money are they donating, putting away for themselves to save? You know what I mean? How much money do you save a month? I save zero.
Negative $240.
Because of the tax man. And it's just going to get worse. Because we're going to get taxed to death. Eventually, we're probably paying, when you consider all the tax that are in, we're probably paying 50% tax. Pretty damn close to it. 50% of our wages that we earn are going to taxes.
And just comparing to a lot of European countries who have a higher tax rate, they get a lot more service out of what is there.
In some countries, they get free friggin' help, like free college in Europe. Free this. They're paying equivalent to what we're paying in taxes overall. When you add it all in, they pay 45%. So the highest in, like, Finland or something is 45% or something. I looked. And when you okay, our tax bracket, my tax bracket is 20%. That's half of what they, okay, but my GST, my gas tax, my tax on this, my tax on that, my property tax, my this, my, when you add it all up, that's what you have to, is your full tax rate. Now, I'm not 100% sure on all the taxes over there, but... Yeah.
It's going to be different from country to country, and some countries have this and some countries have that. So it's okay, fine. It's just kind of the way it works. But you know what? For what we are paying in taxes, we should be getting a considerable amount more.
We should be getting way better. I shouldn't go to an ER and be bleeding to death from the inside, and they go, oh, you should have been in sooner. And you're like... I've been out here for 5 hours in pain, telling you I'm in pain.
It's so weird. It's when you go to the ER, it's like they now actually have a clock up saying how long it's going to be before you get to see a doctor.
With a big asterisk, of course, saying these times are just estimations.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like, okay, so I have 45 minutes before I have to wait to see the doctor. Okay, that's fine. But once you see the doctor, you could be waiting another 6 hours just for them to tell you something. Oh, you're fine.
It's frustrating because all we do, and I've had conversations with people about, and I've said the same thing to I say the same thing to anybody I talk to. We need to do an internal review of wages and salaries for all of our politicians, and people go, I've said that you should pay a politician no more than $50,000, $60,000 at most. That's a really good wage.
Leaders should get more.
You know what I mean? If
they're
you're the prime
leaders.
minister, okay, maybe 75. But I don't think, and I've gotten responses like, well, you need to, then you wouldn't get anybody running for in politics. And I'm like,
Yeah, you would.
You would get people who really want to be there running for politics.
Yeah.
You would get people who actually are dedicated and want to do the job properly. You wouldn't just get these greedy people who are there for the money. How many times have we seen somebody who's a leader of a party, Jim Prentice, I'm looking at you, go, oh, I'm going to be the leader of the party. We're going to take the PC party to a new level. And then, oh, I didn't win? Okay, I quit.
Yeah, he literally rage quit. He walks onto stage, everybody's cheering because, they did horrible, but they're still cheering because they're part of the party. And he goes, oh, thanks, I quit, and walks away. What?
And how many times have we seen a leader of a party, and then you're there like, oh, this guy's a really good guy, and then you find out there's some problem with him, and you're like, what? And it's infuriating to me, because for the longest time I'm sitting here, I don't have the answer, okay? I don't. I'm not sitting here going, oh, well, I'm on my soapbox called YouTube, Cool Discussions, because that's where I want to be, and I'm patting myself on the back. Yes, I am, but I don't have all the answers. I don't think that my outline for the world is not perfect. The way that I see things is not perfect. There be holes in everything, that a lot of stuff. But I think that if you put just incrementally introduce changes, you'll slowly get towards where it's going to be good. Everybody would be happy. It's not going to happen in 1 or 2 years. It would take decades. It probably wouldn't happen in my lifetime. But we have to think about, if we're getting taxed this now, and we continue on this path, what is my kid who's 6? What are they going to be paying in taxes when they go to work? Is it going to be worth it for them to even work?
Well, here's a good example of that. Is right now, to buy the average household, the average home right now in Calgary will cost you almost $500,000. $500,000 to buy a house. Now think about it. That's $460 a week that you would have to pay for your mortgage for at least 20 years.
Yeah, but that's if you have zero interest.
At low interest, which we have right now, which is like 2.5.
But when you buy your house, you're paying for 3 houses by the end of it. Almost.
No, not as bad as it used to be.
Well, it's still 2
percentages used to be around 15. Now they're around 2.5.
It's still bad.
So
it's still...
Okay, 15% on 100,000.
Well, obviously.
No, 15% on 100,000 compared to 2.5% on 500,000. So, okay, it reduces, but it's the much bigger sum. So it's kind of like...
It's still the same. Almost.
Yeah, in the
end, it's the same.
It ends up working out being the same. So it's kind of like, this is what's going on right now as we are adults. Our kids, when they get to that age where they think about wanting to buy a house, they're going to be $750,000, $1 million. And the thing is,
for just a basic house,
wages aren't going to go up either, because
wages don't go up.
The only way I've seen a wage really go up is changing jobs.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, people's like,
you get 15 cents every year, or 20 cents every year for cost of living, but that's like $20 a month.
Walmart, you get 30 cents a year maximum.
Yeah, exactly. So what's that? That's nothing.
30 cents a year. So
that's why I got 49 cents recently, and I'm like, okay, cool. It's appreciative, but it's like
it's kind of like okay. It's 30 cents an hour. Every 10 hours you make $3. Okay, well, with a $10 increase on my gas every week.
Exactly.
Well, guess what? I'm losing $7 a week just because of that.
Yeah, the expenses are going up faster than the...
Yeah, and it's what they call inflation. Wages have not matched inflation for like 30 years. And because of that, wages are so low that in the 50s, you could have one working member of a family, and support a family of 4.
Yeah, now you can't. You can't even come close. Even working 2 people.
If you have 2 working parents and 1 child, it can be very, very difficult. Now, I get it. If you have a really good paying job, great. But you know what? Out of 1 million people, the good paying jobs are only going to be going to, 400,000 people?
If that. Yeah.
600,000 people have to survive on jobs that are Walmart, McDonald's,
that are lower than
that
are like entry level jobs, like
the where all the teenagers are supposed to be working. It's like they work there, but adults work there all the time.
Yeah, you have adults doing these jobs.
Next time you go to fast food, who's at the drive-thru? Is it an East Indian woman? I bet you it is.
Well, in Northeast Calgary, yeah.
No, not even.
Yeah,
they're kind of all over.
Oh.
I don't know about South Calgary because I don't really.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. You know, we sit here and these guys they're speaking up now for a 0% increase, and it's like, well, you just want to get reelected. Like, look at your history of what did you stand up when you really needed to? When it was no, you said let's push it through. Let's.
The only person who has actually stood up for fiscal conservatives is Sean Chow. When Calgary said, "Oh, we're going to throw $5 million at an Olympic bid," he said no. Tax increase, no. Whenever you are in a tough financial situation, you always have to look at what you need to buy.
Yeah, what was important.
What is important? Now, one of the zero-based things is that you have to figure out what you do and don't need. Now, one of the things the city can easily do is go, apparently there's some city-owned fitness places.
Sell those off.
Okay, why? Golf courses. Again, why? I didn't know.
Are they making money? If they're making money, I can understand it. But if they're not making money, then we sell them off. We need to get rid of them. And it's like, it's not the city's job to provide a golf course or a gym for people. It's the city's job to...
a good example is art. You know, people say, I was like, oh, you need to have art to have a vibrant city.
No, you don't. Fine.
Oh, yes, I agree. However, there was this $470,000 blue ring that they put on a bridge over Deerfoot.
That wasn't even from somebody in Canada.
Yeah, it wasn't made by somebody in Canada.
It's made by somebody in Europe.
It literally is just a blue...
with a couple lights on it.
Ooh, it's actually just one.
Oh, I thought it was like the double...
Oh,
it's the double thing.
Yeah, okay.
So here's my thought on that.
You know, that's a hell of a lot of money to waste on.
It's a waste. It
is a waste.
I would have to work 10 years to pay for that.
It's not like you have. It's not like you look through it at a certain angle and it reflects light in such a way that it looks beautiful. It's just the city lampposts. That steel. Take a city lamppost, turn it around, connect the ends, and have the lamp out at the top. You put it on a bridge, and that's the art. That's $470,000.
Here's my fix to that completely. So you're building a project, right? And you want some art in it. You put the call out to city artists and say, listen, we need some art for this project. We would like you to submit a couple of your pieces, and this is what we'll do for you. We'll put a plaque with your name on it. The artist's name, your company, if you're a part of a company, and we'll put it there for everybody to display, but you have to give it to us for free. A little bit of free advertisement for the rest of however long this thing is here. You know what I mean? So if you're building a new stadium, right, and they want art for it, it's not, you go to artists and say, hey, we're building a new hockey arena. We want to put some art in it. Show us some pieces, and then we could put it out we could put it on the Twitter or the Facebook, and we could have people vote on it. It's easy to do stuff like that nowadays. Now, you've got your art. It's free. These people have free advertising for their art forever. Imagine having your art displayed in an NHL arena with your name on it. Fucking millions of people passing through it a year. Mm-hmm. Imagine that. If I was an artist, I'd be like...
So, okay, some artists will say, oh yeah, that's great. Other artists is like, well, you have to pay for material.
Yeah, but imagine the cost of marketing to market yourself. That's free marketing. It's free.
Another way of doing that is you just include the cost in the price of construction.
Well, they do that.
Yeah, oh yeah,
they do that. Yeah. But it's just like you said, it's a waste. $450,000 on a ring.
But
when you could have put a cool little like statue or something like that there and had the plaque. Obviously, people aren't going to see it very well because you're driving by it. But
then it's actually right beside a pathway, and you could have the plaque on the pathway.
Yeah.
But this blue ring was just a piece of garbage.
It's just. I think when it's not your money and you have imagine I was spending your money. Right, I'd be like, okay, whatever. This, and then it runs out. I go, well, I need some more money. Can I just borrow your next paycheck? That's pretty much what they're doing, And it's like we gotta stop, and we gotta when you're like, oh, I can't make my rent this month. You don't go out and buy a new TV. You go, look, how am I gonna you sell your TV? So I don't know. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating because I would rather keep my money. I don't want to spend my money better than the government.
Generally, yes.
I think I do anyways. I could use it more fiscally responsible for myself than they could. Because eventually it's going to be like you get your, X amount of paycheck and you go, where did it all go? Because there's going to be a PST in Alberta soon.
Yeah, it's called the carbon tax.
Year number 4 of the NDP government, they're going to be like, we need a PST. They're going to put it in. People are going to be pissed. They're going to vote them out. But the PST will stay. The next government is not going to be like, we're going to take the PST away. They're going to be like, we didn't do that. We're the good guys. We can't take it away because it's law now or something like that. It's like the minimum wage. Is the next government going to roll it back? Nope, they can't.
Oh, they can actually. They can change the law.
Yeah, but...
Because, it was actually against the law up until, 8-9 years ago for the Alberta government to go into debt. It was actually against the law. And then it's like, oh, we're running into financial problems. Oh, we'll just change the law. They struck it from the books. And all of a sudden, hey, look, we're allowed to have debt. It's like, no. Premier Ralph Klein was as blunt as a politician could have ever gotten. And he got Alberta out of debt. We were zero. We were the best province in all of
we were a big
Canada.
Have province. Now we're a have nothing.
No. We're still counted as a half. We still have to give money away, even though we should be classified as a have-not province.
It's just so frustrating, and we're just going to go in circles 1,000 times because of how frustrating it is, and nothing's going to change in my lifetime. I have zero confidence that anything will change, because when you have conversations with people, they go, what else are we supposed to do? And really, it is true until you get a candidate who can make people understand and who's willing to put themselves out there for a serious change. If I was running for office, my first day on the job, I'd be like, all wages are frozen for all politicians. We're doing an internal review, and if I deem fit, all of you will be taking a pay cut. And if you don't like it, you can go. There's the door. Join those 100,000 people in the unemployment line and explain to them why you're there. Because you didn't want to take a pay cut. You didn't want to do the fiscally responsible thing. Okay? I don't need to make $100,000 a year. I can live Of course. I could live very comfortably on 60. Very comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
Who couldn't? Could you live on 60? Could you live on 60? Why do they need to live on 100? I don't know if that's... I know they make like 90-some-odd thousand, I think.
Oh, they make a lot of money, actually.
So. I know that. I think that's city count. What are they called? Chancellors or counselors? Counselors? I don't know. I know they make...
they make almost 100,000, 105 or something like that. And it's just like, okay, fine. Our mayor in Calgary is
probably one
the
of
the highest paid mayor in all of Canada.
The reporters should be asking the right questions, I think. I think that's one of the questions you should be asking. Are you willing to take a pay cut in order to help the province out? How many of your politicians do you think would say yes? And actually do it? And actually do it and go, yeah, I'll do it right now. 10%, bam, done. Okay, here you go. Whatever. Again, numbers are here.
Now, in the grand scheme of things, having those 100 MPs take a pay cut, like 5%, doesn't add up to a whole lot of money. But it is one of those things of lead by example.
Start.
Yeah, if you're not willing to take a pay cut, how can you expect when you go to a union, go, oh, you guys have to take a pay cut? Oh, you guys didn't. Why should
exactly.
we? And that's exactly what unions do, is they go, you didn't, why should we?
Yeah.
And in Calgary, every year almost, union employees have gotten an increase. And I'm sorry, never in my life have I gotten a pay increase more than once in a year. And for that matter, I haven't even gotten a pay increase twice in 2 years. So, I've been working since I've been 14.
Yeah, I've been working since I was 16 years old. And
so I've never gotten a pay increase twice in a row. And
I think I did once because the guy that owned the place was leaving, so he was like, okay, I'm going to give you a raise. And he gave me a raise before the new guy came in.
Well, there you go.
So I was like, yes. That's when I was making $9 an hour. I was like, yeah, $9 an hour.
Yeah. So it's okay. Thanks for.
It's frustrating. See, he's somebody who participates actively.
I do.
Votes in the political system,
and I do actually believe in most of the political system.
Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube to hear us babble on our political beliefs. And again,
don't worry, we'll talk about it again.
Of course.
In 6 months, somebody will do something stupid with Texas.
6 months? Give it a week. What are you talking about? Next week we're going to be talking about it again, because guaranteed there's going to be some politicians sticking their foot in their mouth. Every day we could talk about it.
Pretty close.
Every day. So don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. Check us out on Facebook because we're there.
Yeah.
iTunes, we're also there as well. Guys, thanks for giving us some of your time. I know it's valuable, so thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Don't forget to comment.